Hi everybody, this is Boogass Reviews, and today I'm going to be doing a review on the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Target exclusive Gold Label New 52 Superman figure. So before we take a look at Superman, let's take a look at the accessories that he comes with. So first up, he comes with your standard DC Multiverse base. And finally, he comes with his data file. Some cool artwork here by Jim Lee. And I wanted to say, he is extremely light on accessories. I wish he would have at least came with a set of flying hands. But yeah, the only accessories he comes with is his base and his data file. Now if you want to read that, go ahead and pause that now. So taking a look at this head sculpt, I don't honestly think this is a bad head sculpt. I actually think it's a really good head sculpt. I love the sculpt of the hair, the way it's coming down on the face right there. It's sculpted really nicely, and I think the face is sculpted really well too. It's just the paint that lets it down. So I don't know if you can see, but there's this line up here, and that's where his eyes are supposed to be. So for some reason they painted his eyes under where his actual eyes are sculpted on there. And the second problem is his lips are just way too dark. It looks like he's wearing lipstick, which I've noticed is a problem with a lot of the McFarlane Superman figures. So yeah, I don't think this is honestly a bad head sculpt, it's just the paint that lets it down. I'm definitely going to at least repaint the lips. I think that'll make a really big difference on the figure. So taking a look at the rest of the figure, I think this might actually be a brand new mold. I think it's a new mold. It's articulated really nicely, but the one time that it really needs sculpted on lines and textures, and McFarlane Toys doesn't do that. New 52 Superman, I know it's a controversial opinion, but it's one of my favorite Superman designs ever. I love the armor that he wears, and they didn't sculpt any of those details on here. I'm really bummed by that. Here he is next to the old DC Collectibles New 52 Superman, and you can see all the sculpted on lines that should have been on the suit. So yeah, for some reason they did not do that. One thing that I think is really odd is they sewed the pocket on the outside of the cape to put wire in, but there was no wire in it whatsoever. I actually ran the wire up through myself. I used the same gauge wire that McFarlane uses, and I think it improves the figure tremendously. I mean, the cape looked really good and draped really nicely on the figure, but now, you know, you can pose it, you can move it around here, and I think that looks really good. You get the black Superman logo on the back painted on there. I will say, it was pretty difficult to get this, the neck part out so I could wire the cape completely. So I had to heat this up probably 4 or 5 times, and you pretty much have to rip the whole neck off right here. The head connects down into the neck, and then the neck connects down here in the chest. And you have to put the wire through the cape, put it on here, and then put the neck part back in and glue it. And it was extremely difficult to get out. I really didn't think it would be as hard as it was. So while it definitely improves the figure, I think it's honestly, in the end, much more hassle than it's worth, if you get this. You get the Superman logo painted on there. I think that looks really good. I like the outline in black there. I typically don't like the 3D sculptor on Superman logos, but I feel like this particular figure really did need that. You get this, I'm pretty sure this is a new diaper piece with the new 52 Superman belt right there. They should have at least sculpted on the details right here for the cuffs of his sleeves, I guess. They just painted them on, and it doesn't quite line up, and it just looks really wonky to me. If you look at the old DC Collectibles version, you can see how it should have been. They could have at least sculpted this triangle on the hand right here. But yeah, they didn't even sculpt that on. It is weird that they sculpted brand new boots, though. These new 52 boots, they do look really good. I do think they needed a black wash or something, but the sculpt of them does look good. No sort of sculpt detail on the bottom. So yeah, I think this figure could have been a lot better if they would have sculpted the lines on, or even just painted them on. I know that would have looked a little bit flat, but you know, they could have at least painted the lines on, just paint some black lines on the whole figure here. So now, let's go ahead and go over his articulation. So he has a ball-jointed head that can look up all the way. He can look down all the way. He can move his head side to side and around very nicely. He has shoulders that can move all the way out. They can spin all the way around. He has a swivel at the bicep that's kind of tight. You can hear that noise that it makes. He has double-jointed elbows that can bend all the way in, wrists that can move up and down and spin all the way around. They are meant to be like in this weird position, so the paint lines line up. He has a ball jointed diaphragm and waist that can move back all the way. He can crunch forward a little bit. He can barely move side to side up here, but he has some decent movement here in the waist. He has hips that can do a complete split. He can kick forward very, very far. He can kick back all the way. He has a really nice thigh swivel. Double jointed knees that can move back that far. Ankles that can move down all the way, up all the way, spin all the way around, and toe articulation that can move up that far. So I think this mold is actually articulated really nicely. That's another reason why it sucks that they didn't sculpt it right, because the articulation is really nice on him. So now, let's do some size comparisons. So first up here he is next to two DC Collectibles New 52 Superman figures. I didn't realize that both that I had different head sculpts. I think the one on the left or the one on the right might have been from a multi-pack. So yeah, I guess I have two versions of this, and you can see all of the sort of sculpt detail, or at least paint detail, that this McFarlane one should have had. Here he is next to the Superman Rebirth figure. If they weren't going to wire this cape, they honestly should have reused this cape. I feel like the shape of this cape is a little more accurate to the New 52 Superman design. Here he is next to Flash. And seeing him next to Flash makes me realize we really need some more New 52 figures. If I remember right, this is actually from DC Rebirth. But we definitely need some more New 52 figures before the line ends. We need Wonder Woman. We definitely need Batman. I do know that they made an Amazon exclusive that had a glider, but I honestly didn't care about the glider. We definitely need a single release of that one. We need Aquaman. Cyborg with that bulky design. I guess technically you could use the Flashpoint Cyborg figure for New 52, but I'd rather just have a New 52 Cyborg figure. And a New 52 Flash. So yeah, we definitely need the rest of the New 52 Justice League in figure form from McFarlane. And finally, here he is next to the DC Collectibles New 52 Wonder Woman figure. And honestly, she doesn't scale too bad with him. I feel like you could definitely use this one in your McFarlane display if you wanted. So overall, this figure isn't bad. Like I said, the articulation is really good, and I think the sculpt is decent. The problem is the execution. The sculpt is not accurate at all. The paint lets it down in the face area, like the eyes and the lips, and he didn't have a wired cape. As I said, wiring the cape does improve the figure, but it is a lot of hassle to go through. So yeah, the figure's not entirely bad, but it could have been way better and way more accurate. So, that's my review. If you like this review, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.